The recent news on Coinbase is being viewed as really good news for the stock, but it's really bad news for the customers. All right, so let's talk about it. My name is Ed Anderson. I'm the host, moderator, and all-around nice guy of the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. Today, we're talking about the big news out of Coinbase that has made the stock rally quite a bit recently. Okay, now this story is not just about Coinbase, okay? It's about the crypto space in general, and it has pretty big ramifications. So it is important that you understand what's going on here, and so that you are aware, and so that you can take the proper precautions. All right, so let's start by taking a look at the recent price action in the stock of Coinbase. So you can see here in the past several trading days, the stock has had a pretty big rally, okay? And it is up almost $1 billion worth of market cap in this short period of time on this newest piece of news. Now, the stock is still down quite a bit over the past 6 months, right? I mean, this chart looks awful, but it seems to have found a little bottom here, and now it's trying to push upward. I don't think it's going to last very long, but let's talk about why it's had this little rally. Okay, so the reason why this market has had this little pop here is because news came out that they settled with the SEC. The SEC had accused Coinbase of not having strong enough KYC for their customers, background information on their customers. And so they were suing Coinbase. And now Coinbase is a very compliant company. They don't like to cause any waves with the authorities. And so they settled with the SEC for $100 million. Half of that went straight to the SEC, and half of that is going toward the company's compliance division. All right, let's pause for a second here. As far as I'm concerned, the SEC is essentially a group of shakedown artists. Okay, these are people, it is a cash cow for the government. If the SEC ever wants to raise a big pile of dough, they just go to a random company and they start threatening them with all sorts of lawsuits and criminal activity and all the rest of it. And most companies, they don't want to take on the government. I mean, after all, the government has unlimited resources, right? So when the government comes after you, it's a pretty intimidating thing. And so most companies, they settle with the SEC, give them a big pile of cash, and the SEC is, I'm sure they go out for drinks afterward and celebrate the big win they just had. I'd like to know whether these guys get paid a commission of them. I wouldn't be surprised. But the SEC isn't what you think it is. It's a government entity, and it is more interested in raising money, in sucking money out of honest companies than they are, they're extortionists, in my opinion. However, the way Wall Street looks at this, the way the way investors look at it is they look at it as good news. They see it as a dark cloud being removed from the company. And so they're relieved. And so the market has a pop on that news. But this is why it's bad news for the customers, because Coinbase now is going to crack down big time on their customers. They're going to want all sorts of sensitive information from you in order for you to remain a customer or to become a customer. So I'm sure imminently here, when they get all geared up, they're going to start sending out requirements for all of their existing customers to provide a lot more sensitive personal information. This is why it's bad news for us, okay? Now, the government right now, they don't like the idea that there's a competing currency with their precious fiat currency. So they hate the crypto space for that reason. Heaven forbid you should exercise your personal freedom to find ways to grow your wealth without having ties to the government. Heaven forbid, right? They're having a hard time going after the crypto space itself. So what they're doing is they're going to the source. They're going after the exchanges. That's what's happening here, right? I mean, look, we do need exchanges in order to buy and sell our cryptos. So they are going after the exchanges themselves, the nexus, the point at which we can operate in that space. And so this is creating a clash between two worlds, between the decentralized world and the centralized world. Now, Coinbase, as you know, is a centralized exchange. They operate inside of the centralized world, okay, which is not what we want to be in if we have a choice, right? So as they start gathering this very precious, sensitive, private information about every one of us, and they store that information on some kind of a third party, we don't know who that third party is going to be, we are now exposed. Okay, you hear all the time about all these companies being hacked and people's personal information being stolen. I mean, hell, even the IRS itself was hacked, and hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people had their private Social Security information stolen from the freaking IRS. All right, and this happens to companies all the time. And of course, the biggest suspects in all of these hacking are mostly Chinese. It's mostly the Chinese stealing our private information. So you should be always very shy about giving up your personal private information. But that is what Coinbase is going to be requiring from you. And it's not going to be just Coinbase, okay? They're not going to stop at Coinbase. It's going to start, seeping into all of the other exchanges. This is why everyone needs to be worried about this. This is an existential threat to anybody who wants to operate in the crypto space at all. So that's why this is a very big story. And I want you to be paying attention to it and keep watching my videos, keep joining my WhatsApp group, or just get plugged in somehow. Make sure you're aware of what's going on out there in the space, not just in the crypto space, by the way, but in the government in general, the things that they are doing to steal our freedoms from us. They don't want you to be private, okay? They don't respect your privacy, and they don't respect your freedoms. Freedom-loving people are the enemy of the government. I know I'm starting to sound like a tinfoil hat guy, right? But listen, it's obvious. I'm just reporting the truth. I'm reporting the actual news. And it is essential that you understand what's going on. Now, if Coinbase were ever to go bankrupt, like an FTX or a Celsius, and if you're a customer at the time of that bankruptcy, okay, you are going to appear in the paperwork as an unsecured creditor. So all of your private information is going to be public record. Okay, you have to understand that. Now, whether or not Coinbase is going to go bankrupt, I don't know. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised. In my predictions for 2023, I told you that I do expect some more major exchanges to go under. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Coinbase is one of them. But if that were to happen, okay, all of your personal information is going to be public information, because you're going to be in the paperwork when they file for the bankruptcy. You're going to be in there as an unsecured creditor. Okay, so in the face of all of this, what can you do? Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up accounts at multiple exchanges if you don't already. Remember, this is still a very young industry, so there is no real standardization among the exchanges, right? Some exchanges will support some tokens, whereas others don't, and they all have their little picadillos, right? So you've always had to have multiple exchanges, for particular things that you want to do in the crypto space. Well, now it's even more important to have options, to have multiple accounts set up at different exchanges. Listen, it doesn't cost anything to open up an account at an exchange. So I do suggest that you open up an account at multiple exchanges. That way, if one goes under, or if one exchange doesn't honor the token you want to do business in, you have other exchanges to look at and to use. So you should not have just one crypto exchange. If you are a Coinbase customer and that's all you have, I mean, come on, you got to get out there and open up accounts at different exchanges. Have options, okay? Get that done. Go in there, do all your little KYCs if you have to for an exchange, and get them all set up and ready to go. So if the time comes when you need an option, you're all set. Don't wait until the last minute. So get multiple accounts set up at different exchanges. That's number one. Number two, as always, never, ever, ever keep any assets on a centralized exchange like Coinbase, like Kraken, like Nexo. None of them, okay? I don't trust any of the exchanges. Never hold any of your assets on a centralized exchange. Okay, always. I mean, if you're hell-bent on holding on to a crypto, get it onto something like an Exodus wallet or a Trust wallet, or better yet, get it on a cold wallet, like one of these guys. But do not keep any of your assets on a centralized exchange, because it's not yours. So that's what you want to do. And the third thing you can do is be nimble. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't forget about stuff. You got to stay plugged in. If you're going to be in the crypto space, it does involve a little bit of awareness on your part. So that's on you, right? You got to keep tabs on what's going on. But from an existential point of view, I want you to understand this little war that's going on between the centralized exchanges and the decentralized exchanges. And you have to understand the differences between the two. Okay. And also you got to understand that in the background there, we got the government right now, working on their little insidious evil plans to make it hard for you to do any business in the crypto space. This is what they're doing. Okay. If they can't go after crypto directly, okay, they go after our ability to participate in the crypto space, meaning the exchanges. They're not going to make our lives easier. The government is not our friend. They're not here to protect your freedom. They're not here to look out for us. They have their own agenda, and you have to understand that as freedom seekers, we have to constantly be vigilant. So that's the story out of Coinbase. The news is not what you think it is. The headline news is not good news. It's good news for the stock price of the company. That's it. For everyone else, it's bad news. So if you're a Coinbase customer, if I were you, I would expect an email pretty soon from Coinbase asking for all sorts of very sensitive private information about you. It's coming. So you better have a plan B unless you want to fork over that very private information, and then that's on you. Listen, I am a Coinbase customer right now, right? That's part of my portfolio of the exchanges that I have set up. But I have no problem cutting them loose if they start asking for all sorts of information that I do not want to give them. If you would like to join the Hey Ed community, shoot me an email and I'll send you a link. You can join the group. It's a really good group of people. If you don't mind, give me a like, maybe subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment below. I'd like to know your thoughts on this subject. Okay, Ed Anderson signing out.
Copy that.